I didn't know when I got this camera, but I was getting deployed later on that year. So having a camera that could do photos and video, but was small enough to take with me pretty much wherever I went, keep on me in the plane, you know, I didn't have to pack it up any special kind of way, was pretty big for me. We do the little mark thing, whatever, to mark the sound. I should probably spit this gum out. Hey guys, hope y'all are doing well out there. My name is Devontae with the Camera Kicks channel, and today I'm going to be talking about my 2-year review with the Canon M50. I got some notes, so forgive me if I'm looking down a few times here and there. There's also a guy rolling by and on a lawnmower, and there's a helicopter. I bought this camera back in 2018. At the time, I had the Canon 60D and the Canon 6D. The 60D was, you know, it was good. It did what it needed to do at the time. I wasn't really into video or anything like that, so I really didn't use video on that camera pretty much at all, I don't think. So it wasn't used for vlogging or any type of personal videos. It was basically just for photos. And that was I want to say the second camera that I ever had was the 60D, and then I bought the 60 to complement that for more professional stuff. But basically I got this camera because it was small. If I ever did want to do vlogging or some type of video, it was easy to carry around. It came with 4K, which was, you know, the huge thing at the time. But there are some drawbacks that came with that, and we'll talk about that later. But it was small enough to fit anywhere, but powerful enough to take pretty good photos. So there's good photos I've taken on this. I'll throw up a few examples. I even shot my first short film, my personal first short film with this camera and my 6D, which I just recently sold. But in that video, you really can't tell the difference between the two. I matched every setting the same. The colors were the same. The grading was the same. After with the video, I used the same microphone. Well, I used the lavalier mic. So everything was pretty much the same, and you could not tell the difference between. Like I said, there are some drawbacks for certain people, and it may pertain to you. So going over specs, this is a 24.1 megapixel camera. So you can blow it up to, I think, about 30 by 40 before you really start losing a whole lot of quality. And it also depends on your settings, because high ISO will pretty much just destroy this camera. For sports, or like for sports for kids, like football or soccer or baseball, or if you go to some type of sporting event, it is better than my 60D. It is also better than my 6D. I think my 6D only did like 5 frames per second or something like that. This does 7 in servo. So with people moving around, it does 7. And then with your frame rate locked, it does, or your focus locked, it does 10. It also has a silent mode, which you can shoot in if you're, you know, if you want to shoot a wedding, or if you're out doing, like I did one time, taking street photos, and you really don't want people to know you're taking photos. You put it on silent mode and nobody will ever know that you're taking photos, because this is a mirrorless camera. So that skunk sound that typically people are used to, it does not happen with this camera. So that's not something you have to worry about. Okay, so when I got this camera, I was, like I said, I was only into photography. I didn't get it for video, but like I said, the 4K was cool if I ever needed it. And at the time, and I didn't know when I got this camera, but I was getting deployed later on that year. So having a camera that could do photos and video, but was small enough to take with me pretty much wherever I went, keep on me in the plane, you know, I didn't have to pack it up any special kind of way, was pretty big for me. And it reduced my size by about half as far as what I would take. So typically when I took my 60D, it would be my 24-70, and that's, you know, that's a pretty sizable lens. And then I'd also take like a 50 mil, or I recently got a 35 mil. With this, I can take my 15 to 45 which is a pretty great range. And this is a crop sensor also, so it's 1.6 times whatever that would be. And I think 15 is like 24 and 45 is like 70 something or something like that. I don't know. You guys can do the math if you want. But then I throw on my 35 mil and then I have an adapter to go along with it that pushes it out to more of what the full frame would be. I think it's a 1.1 times crop at that point. So it gets a little bit better. And when you get lenses that are prime and they have better or faster apertures on them, you get that silky background look, like that there, like that there, like that there. I did make a few vlogs with this camera before I left. This was, like I said, before I even found out that I was getting deployed. I made a few vlogs for that one, and it was pretty cool learning about the video features, you know, learning about the faults, the goods, and the bad. It does have the dual pixel autofocus, so right now, if you can see me, and say if I come up close, that's the dual pixel autofocus working. This is 1080p 30 or 24, 1080p 24. So, but when you go into 4K mode, you lose the dual pixel autofocus, which is probably hands down the best feature about this camera. This is something I don't have to worry about. Stick to 1080p. If you want to do 4K, there are extenders or adapters out there where you can adapt different lenses, or you can kind of make this into a 1.1 times crop, so it's not as bad. But if you're doing something like standing still, like kind of like I am now, then the 4K would probably be okay. Okay, so now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. The camera is good for photos. It's great. If you can adapt lenses, it's phenomenal. It is a Digic 8 processor, so it's a 2-year-old processor, but it is 2020 right now, and this camera is still good. 4K is still not a huge part of what people are watching, but the picture quality for this camera is good. The video quality is good. The one thing that really kills it for me, and this is for me personally, and it may be for somebody else who's considering this camera, for my short film, I noticed a huge drawback with this camera. Because of the time that I wanted to shoot, the dynamic range of this camera is pretty terrible. Even if you take your dynamic range all the way down, if you go to your profile settings and put it in neutral, even if you set a custom setting and put everything all the way down to the last leg and then up one, which is what a lot of people say, it's still, it's not terrible, but it's still not that great. So you can't really push or pull a lot of things in post. So what I did to mitigate this was I added my own custom profile. Well, I had a downloaded profile to this to mitigate that dynamic range issue, which really helped out a lot. And that's what really made the difference between my 6D and this camera smaller, because of the custom profile. So you can make this camera to be whatever you want to be. It takes photos, it takes videos, it does 720 120p. There's no audio with the 120p though, but you can still do your 1080p 60. You can do 4K 24, 4K 30. It has great quality. It's a good camera. I vlog with this. I shoot this video. I've shot other videos. This is probably gonna stay in my bag as my runaround go-to camera. I will be working on getting the next R series camera, if not the R5, the R6, or the R7, whichever one comes out that I like. But for right now, this camera's great. I definitely recommend it to anybody, photographer or videographer, home videographer, or if you're starting out in videography. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it. I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.